My name's Faduma, and I'm here just to talk to you guys about shaping your university experience through module choices. Now, I think Shamia just mentioned how different universities have different modules that you can select, okay? Now, every uni differs. However, majority of the unis will be covering the fundamentals of mathematics that you will require for your future in whatever mathematical field you're going into. So today will be quite brief, not going into the specific details, but it will give you a very good idea of what it is like and what you're going to be studying, okay? Now, firstly, the best way I thought to do this was go through your years at university. Year 1 and year 2 of a mathematics degree is usually all about building your foundations. Year 1 is bringing everyone to the same level, making sure you're understanding the theoretical side, how we approach mathematics at a university level, as well as giving you the introductory modules for things that you will be probably studying in year 2. Now, with modules at university, you'll have core modules, and these are usually quite similar in the first year across all universities. But you will also have option modules. Now, the number of options you have depends on your university. So, for example, the university that I went to, the University of Leicester, in first year, when I was studying, I had an option in my first semester and I had another option in my second semester. And then my number of options increased as I went further along my degree. Now, what are these core modules or option modules you might see at university? Now, the first one that you're probably going to see at every single university is some sort of calculus. Now, you would have studied the basics of calculus and come across calculus at college, but maybe not calling it calculus. So calculus it's the study of change over time, and it includes things like differentiation and integration, which you would have covered in first year of college and second year of college. But then it takes it to the next level where you're looking at the theoretical proofs behind certain ideas. And also these theorems that you'll be learning will be fundamental for you to use in application when you go into year 2. There is also the skills side of things. So when it comes to thinking about what do I need from college, differentiation and integration is something you need to definitely be familiar with. Another module that you will see probably across all universities is linear algebra when you begin. Now, linear algebra looks at matrices, looks at vectors, it looks at vector spaces. So you're not just looking at 2D and you're moving into 3D and ND really. So you're looking at different spaces. Linear algebra is a very useful tool if you want to go into something like data. It is used a lot in computing to visualize data as well. We have other modules such as number theory. Now, these might be optional or core in your desired universities, but you will get to see them in some way or form. We've got differential equations. Now, you would have studied different ways of differentiating at college, using the product rule, using the chain rule. These skills are things that you're going to be building upon when you come across modules like this. We have computing. Now, I know one of the participants earlier asked about, do you get to do some sort of computing? Yes, you do. Sometimes the maths is just too big to do using pen and paper, okay? Especially when you get to second year and third year, when you're looking at matrices that are very big sizes. So computing. Now, bearing in mind, not everybody's done computing at college. Usually in your first year, you will encounter some sort of introduction to some sort of software. For example, you might have Excel using a tool called VBA, or your university might be doing an introduction to Python or introduction to MATLAB MATLAB is very useful in the mathematical field. And also you might even come across some computing skills using some softwares in statistics. So when you've got large data sets, we don't do all the calculations by hand, we use statistical software. And all of this you will get training for, you will get assignments, you will get notes on how to do this. And then my favorite, you will see some sort of probability and statistics throughout your first 2 years, always starting off with an introduction and then a following module that goes into more detail. Now, the reason I called this talk Shaping Your University Experience is because I remember when I was in college, I hated statistics to the point where I required a tutor to at least get me a pass grade. Yeah, I hated statistics, and I can say it with confidence. For me, it was all about pure mathematics. It was all about the core side of mathematics. Now, when I came to university, the whole ball game switched around. It switched around completely for me. I began to love statistics and even want to consider a future in statistics. And pure mathematics, calculus, linear algebra, and all of this stuff was there. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I enjoyed statistics. So you'll realize throughout your first 2 years that you're going to be coming across a lot of modules, and you're going to be realizing what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. Or you're going to be realizing what parts of mathematics do you even want in your future careers. So that's why I called it Shaping Your University Experience. I always tell everyone when picking your options, try to pick options that give you a wide range of skills. I knew that I wanted to become a teacher during my university year, 3 years of university. I knew I wanted to become a secondary mathematics teacher. However, I didn't want to limit myself to the core subjects. I wanted to explore computing because it's a skill that I could take in any career in the future when I want to maybe leave the education sector. Probability and statistics, if I ever wanted to enter the data sector or applied mathematics and going into maybe lecturing, I knew that would be really helpful for me. So when picking options at university, think about it, not just this is what I enjoy. Maybe think about, wait, what skills am I going to gain from these modules? And then year 3, the best year because there is a little bit more freedom. Somebody asked earlier, when do you get to specialize? When do you get to do things that you want rather than focusing on everything that is core? That's year 3. Year 3 is when all your options begin. You've got a lot more control. At University of Leicester, I was fortunate enough to get to choose all my modules in 3rd year. So it allowed me to choose 3 in my first semester, 3 in my second semester. And even though this seems so long away, because you guys are in college, options is definitely something you're going to be looking forward to. And then finally, there's an option to do a dissertation or project. Now, throughout my first year of uni and my second year of uni, I was definitely the person out of my group of friends that said, I would never do a dissertation in my life. I stopped writing paragraphs and essays in English literature GCSE. So I was always firm upon saying that I would never do a dissertation or a project. Guess what? I was one of 6 students in my 3rd year on my course who decided to pick the dissertation, the project module, the business project module. Now, the reason I picked it is because I knew that I would probably never get a chance again to do something like a project, an educational-based project linked with a business. The amount of skills that I managed to gain from that module was incredible. Speaking to a client, working with a client, writing a almost 10,000 word dissertation, learning and improving my coding skills, learning how to use a different software, an online editing software called LaTeX. So many skills just from that one module. Even though I hadn't written an essay from year 11. From year 11 to my 3rd year, I hadn't written a single essay. But I thought, just take the plunge. and it worked. So for your university experience, my biggest tip would be try not always stay in the safe zone. Sometimes try to experiment. Try to experiment and see where it leads you. I've just got a picture there of my dissertation, which I was incredibly proud of. And the support from my supervisors, etc., was amazing. And the second last thing I'm going to mention is, when thinking about modules choices, if you are uncertain, speak to the module conveners. Even when you start first year university, don't treat your lecturers as lecturers at the front of a stage. It can be very easy to do that. Sometimes all you need to do is go have a chat with them, a friendly, informal chat, seek their advice, see what they can give you more tips on as well. If you build a good relationship with your lecturers, it will make choice of modules very easier for you. It'll make it less stressful, and it will also give you a better insight. You get to talk to the actual lecturer that's going to be delivering that module. Now, on the white space that I've got on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm going to put up a list of optional modules. Now, you might see these at your university, you might not. The best way to find out what modules are available is visit the university's website, the mathematics department of your choice. So for example, if you're applying to Loughborough Uni or Leicester Uni, their mathematics page will have modules from all the years shown on there. For example, here, I've put a snippet of optional modules that are available in the final year for third year students from Leicester University. There are so many options. Now, these optional modules might have prerequisites. So if you know you want to go into statistics and you want to do generalized linear models, the middle, it says generalized linear models, well, you're most likely going to need something that's linked to that in second year. So sometimes if you want to think ahead, see what you want to do in third year, which might help you pick your second year modules. That's also a way to go around it. Be flexible. That's my biggest tip. Be flexible with module choices so that you can get the best experience possible. I'm going to leave it there. I know I'm above my 10 minutes. If anybody's got any questions regarding module choices, how to choose them, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer to the best of my capability.
Thank you so much for doing that. Was actually so interesting, and I'll have a look into what year 3 options are for me as well now. Looking at the questions, we have one question that is, what is the most effective way in taking notes during a maths lecture? Okay,
now it depends on the delivery of the lectures. So if you have a lecturer that has PowerPoints and ready-made PowerPoints, then I realized this all in first year was for me experimenting. First year is experimenting for most people, and you realize what works and what doesn't work. Now, if you have a lecturer that does PowerPoints, I usually advise print off the PowerPoint so you're focusing on what the lecturer is saying and the key points that they're adding on to their explanations that you can just jot down. Or if you've got a tablet or if you've got a laptop that you can write on, alternatively, get OneNote and write on the tablet. In my second year, I ended up buying a tablet because I realized it saved me paper, which not many people even tell you until you finish your first year and you bought many refill pads. If you buy a tablet, you can write on it and you can annotate your lecture notes. Now, some lecturers do not have PowerPoints. They write on a whiteboard or a blackboard like Shamia's. Those lecturers I found quite challenging personally because I can't learn that way. I find it very difficult to focus on what the lecturer is saying, what the lecturer is writing, and what I'm writing. If there is something that you're going to be able to get online, don't write it. Don't write it down. Focus on the explanation, because then you're able to ask questions in the lecture when you need. I think that's the best way I could answer that one.
I think that's absolutely fantastic, and the tip about getting a tablet as well, it's a great one. I think I need to as well. I've been going through refill pads one after the other. There's a lot of writing in mathematics, that's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll just leave it there for you, Faduma. There's quite a few other questions as well. If you just want to type and answer them, that would be lovely. And I will pass it over to the next speaker. Thank you very much.